How do I start these videos again? It's been a while, maybe 3 or 4 weeks. You know how it is after the Christmas and New Year period, seeing family, and I've been on holiday and I've been renovating, for those of you who watch my videos and, you know, maybe notice a thing or two that's different. But hey, now is a great time for me to get back on track since John Mayer has just released a brand new song. Hey, it's Darryl Syms, and in today's video we're going to be checking out the outro solo in John Mayer's brand new song, I Guess I Just Feel Like. This is a relatively easygoing song which starts off with a basic 2-chord strumming pattern on the acoustic guitar and finishes on this wicked epic solo. And as always, I don't want you to just learn the piece of music that I'm going to show you. I want you to really pay attention to the articulation of each note that I play and the techniques involved so that you can actually use these ideas in your own playing rather than just learning another song. You want to actually be able to take something from this. So take your time with this, spend as much time as you need to really master every lick. Make sure you're hitting those bends perfectly, nailing the vibrato, getting the hammer-ons, pull-offs, slides, all of that good stuff. And throughout the lesson, I'm going to try and keep talking to a minimal and just kind of play everything slowly for you to follow along as best as possible. And where it begins to get a little bit complex and I feel that it's appropriate, I will elaborate further on what I'm doing so that you can hopefully thoroughly understand what's going on. As usual, the tab for what I'm about to show you along with the backing track is available for Patreon supporters. If you'd like to get a hold of those and help support this channel, then please check out the link to my Patreon, which is linked in the description below. Alrighty, so for this piece, you're not going to need a pick. We'll be using our fingers, predominantly the thumb and the finger, bouncing between those, but occasionally you'll need that second for some rolls. So the chord progression that we're actually playing over is simply B to E. So you'd have, and that just repeats. And over these chords, we're going to be using the B minor pentatonic scale throughout this entire piece, with the exception of a couple flavor notes. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to keep the talking to a minimum and just simply break this down phrase by phrase, playing it super slow and explaining what's going on where necessary. And just one more thing before we begin, I'm actually using my bridge pickup for this entire solo, and of course, as usual, bias effects on the computer, where I've got a couple low gain amps driven by a fuzz pedal to get that kind of tone that John's got. So here we go. The first phrase sounds like this. There we go, nice and simple. I just want to highlight the vibrato there. It's quite a fast vibrato, so it's not this, it's more. Okay, so. And that bend at the end there doesn't last quite long. You'll find a lot of these throughout this piece. It's not even a half bend, it's more of a quarter. And then, so that's nice and simple, just one string. And the next phrase, slowly. Now this next phrase is quite cool. We're going to introduce some tapping. I feel like this is something John has done quite a bit over the last few years and introduced into his playing. And not the tapping that you might think. If I play the phrase up to speed, we have. So let me play that super slow. Watch the tapping finger. So I pluck with the first. Hopefully you can see what's going on there. Bend, tap 12, release, slide down to 11, and then 2 bends, and then flick that one off, finishing on that 9. Very tasteful indeed. Shortly after, nice and easy there, I'm just sliding up to 11 on the G. Cool. Moving on, we have this phrase. So, just a double stop pattern here. We got 9 and 10 on the G and B. Hammering on with the 3rd finger. I'm using my fingers for that. So hammer on. And then up here on the 12 of the D. Alright. And then same kind of thing. And then moving on with the next bar, we have this roll. So you're going to want to use the 3 fingers here, and we're going to do this super quick, ascending a D major triad, those 3 notes. Let that note sustain very briefly before doing this. So pull off, slide. One more time together. And then we move up to this area of the neck where we have, so that's a slide into 11 on the G. So here I got a couple ghost notes in there as well, which I'm playing with the thumb. And then we have that kind of thing. So we start off with a bend on the 12, and there's a few ghost notes, look out for those. Hopefully you managed to get that. And then a nice easy phrase. And now we have a very interesting phrase which uses the blues note, and we're sort of highlighting the major 3rd as well in there somewhere. So fast. It's quite a tricky one actually. We have 13. You're gonna half bend it. Open B string there. So that bit's interesting. After the B we have a half bend, and then the second time you can half bend, release, and then hammer on and do another half bend. So very interesting. And then super simple. Just a quick slide out there. Before the next phrase, which is super cool, I'm gonna combine the next 2 actually. It's quite a long one, but it sounds dope. We have so it's a lot to take in there. We start off with this double stop, that's 11 and 10 there. Just 2 hammer-ons, and then that's the first chunk once again. And then we have this fast phrase. Okay, so it's just pentatonics really, but played fast. And that leads nicely into. So let me go through that. We are using the thumb over the top here. We've got 7 on the D, thumb over. Vibrato on the 9. ghost note, using that little finger to slide from 10 to 12 on the B, and then there we go, a nice staccato note at the end there. So I'm going to play those two previous phrases slowly for you. Hopefully that was slow enough and that makes some sense to you. And then, so a couple more double stops. We're hammering on from 11 and 10 there onto the 12 of the D and G using the 3rd and 4th finger. And then we're going to use that to slide down to 9 and 10, pull off to 7, 7. Like that. And then a real quick 7 on the D before. That kind of thing. Immediately after we have this phrase. So we have a 6 here on the G string. And then a quick roll off there. You're going to roll out of that from the 10th fret on the E string. Then there's a nice lengthy gap which gives you plenty of time to shoot up to the 19th fret here, and we're just going to mute the other strings with these two fingers and flick down twice. So just like that. And then, so we have two killer bends there. We have a full bend and then a full and a half, going to 14 and then 15. And that's the very last clear phrase before the song fades out. But there's one more fast phrase that he plays before you can't hear anything, which I believe sounds something like this. And slowly, sliding into the 10 there. There you have it. I hope you took something away from this video. If you did, if you learned the piece, or if you use some of the techniques in your own playing and you'd like to share, please post a video on Instagram and tag me at Darryl Syms. I'd love to check it out. I'll be sure to give it a like, comment, all of that cool stuff. And until next time, I will see you in the next video.